Hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Games, a show where we get your game up and running as fast as we possibly can. And if you need to make a turn based game, look no further than today's video. I'm going to give it to you straight. It's relatively easy and fast. All you have to do is understand Buildbox, the number one codeless solution for developing video games fast, and its variable save and load system. Let's get right into it. Um, when you develop your video game in Build-A-Box, your turn-based video game, you simply should have the turns laid out for UI. Okay. Here we have three separating turns. Okay. And that is you select your direction. Then you select your attack. And next, everything is executed. Set your system up something similar to this, and it'll be relatively simple for you to complete your game. If we go to the first turn, or the first part of the turn, the first step of the turn, for us in our game is when you select the direction. So we made an asset, and this asset actually takes the time to save the direction, okay, that you want to go. So this asset is an object or a UI object. What I would suggest, if you want to make it relatively simple, is you um, yeah, is you take and grab some kind of UI element, not an image, okay, but some kind of UI element. It can't be a button. You can't put any button stuff in there. So really, just go to let's say you write arrow, okay, um, as one of the assets for Buildbox. You can select one of the arrows as that asset, okay. From there, you take and you go inside of it, okay. Let me make sure that the one I was just talking about you can still go inside of too. Yeah. Okay. And there'll just be a start node and an animation node. The animation node is the way it looks. The node is what is most important. Okay. If it doesn't have a start node, you probably couldn't go into it in the first place. All right. So we selected a gem or a button of some sort, grabbed a picture, dropped it in, used it for multiple things, just gave it a different name. It really doesn't matter. And in fact, these should be or will be later on invisible. They'll have no icon. They're just having icons right now. Moving on, we go into our direction asset. And this is what is going to be in the things that require you to have turns, that require you to make a decision. You need the decision that can be made on one side, and then you need to save the fact that that decision was made on the other side. So for this example, we have a button that you can press as your decision. Inside of the state machine, there's nothing we have to program. State machine basically makes it so anything on one side is true, then the other side is true, and thus things need to be triggered. And if anything on one side is true and on the other side is true, all other things that are below or above are false. Only this decision is true, no other things. So two of these cannot be true at the same time. That is swell. That works well for us. We'll use the variable save system in BuildBox in order to save our decision. So if you made a decision on this side, this is now saved. Nothing happens though. Just this information is saved for you to call upon it later on. Okay. So us for you and I, or for this game, we have two turns that come before everything is executed. In our second turn or our second selection of items, this is going to be an attack. It works exactly the same as the first one. Okay, place a state machine inside, place the decision on one side, save the decision on the other side. Next is the execution, and this is where it comes into play. This is where your decisions matter. This is where it's most important, right? So in the execution phase, we have a icon, or we have an item that is supposed to behave similarly to the others, except instead now your decision is called upon. Okay, so here the button that you pressed is called upon. Okay, um, and if it is true, because these will all come out false because of the other ones. Okay, so whichever one is true is the information that is sent. So when it sends true, then uh no, actually, I think it sends out false and true regardless. Okay, so since it's always going to send the signals, every last one of these is going to send these signals. It is inside the object that you are trying to control or you're trying to manipulate, that this information is where this information is important. Okay, and that is because inside we have a three-dimensional object, or we have a character, and I have set it so that this signal is received, right? And then we place signal filters in between. And only if the signal that is received comes out as true does anything after that execute. So for here, the changing of positions is what will be executed if the signals are true. Okay? And then again, you just make this loop continuously until, I guess a defeat has occurred, whether it be on the opposing side or whether it be you as a player. If you have found this and other titles, other videos helpful, you know exactly what to do.